Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I am your host Tom Downey, and as promised, here to take a look at a potential Demarcus Lawrence contract extension, what it could look like, why he's going to get so much money, and then most importantly, we'll compare it to other big contracts players have received and how it could impact the Demarcus Lawrence deal. Now for starters here, the Cowboys have made it clear Lawrence is their #1 priority, and for good reason. He's been vocal about getting a new contract with the Dallas Cowboys, and just to be completely honest, Dallas would be dumb if they let him hit the open market after a very good season amidst, by the way, a torn labrum in his shoulder. Now, as for what Demarcus Lawrence means to the Cowboys, that's a big factor in how desperate the Cowboys are to re-sign him. You look at their defensive line depth chart, Tyrone Crawford's a good player, Antoine Woods is a good player, Gregory's a good player, Malik Collins can be a good player at times. They don't have any other elite pass rushers. And yeah, Randy Gregory had 6 sacks this year, most in his career by a significant margin. Tyrone Crawford had 5.5. Jalen ended up with 4. Demarcus Lawrence, though, is your only steady, consistent pass rusher. Take a look at what he's done the last 4 years. Now, 2016 was bad amidst a back injury, a suspension, and all that really did impact his play. But over the past 2 seasons, Demarcus Lawrence truly has been one of the premier edge rushers in the NFL, and that's kind of how he compares to the Cowboys players. We'll break down how he compares to the other NFL players, but first, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, and they're going to give you $60 for free. Put down $100, and that becomes $120. But if you use Bitcoin, that bonus gets even bigger. It becomes 150%. All that extra money to bet on college basketball, the NBA, and all kinds of NFL futures and prop bets available on the BetDSI site. So head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120. And if you need help with Bitcoin, we'll take care of you. DM us on Twitter @chatsports, and we'll walk you through the process. Now, back to where Lawrence ranks among the other NFL editors. We'll look at, since 2017, the last 2 years, the reason you're paying Demarcus Lawrence all this money. 25 sacks, tied with Cam Jordan, tied with Calais Campbell, one less than Ryan Kerrigan, several less than Chandler Jones. Now, I know sacks can be a bit fluky. They can ebb and flow a little bit. Also, where are KHALIL, MACK, and Von Miller? This list shouldn't count. Let's look then at pressures by an edge rusher since 2017. So sacks and hurries and quarterback hit all put together. Well, that makes more sense, right? KHALIL MACK, #1, tied with Von Miller. And then at #3, all by himself, is Demarcus Lawrence. So for those reasons, maybe it's a good idea to go throw money at Demarcus Lawrence and make sure he gets paid in a big, big way. Melvin Ingram there as well, Cam Jordan. The reality is, over the past 2 years, Demarcus Lawrence has been elite. When you put up back-to-back double-digit sack years, those are fantastic numbers. That is worthy of paying an edge rusher a ton of money. And we're going to break down how the contract could look here for Demarcus Lawrence, but I do want to know from you guys, how much is Demarcus Lawrence worth per year? I'll ask you this now before we break down some of the numbers for other similar players, and then at the end, I'll ask you guys again. So here's how other edge rushers are paid across the NFL. Here's the guaranteed money. Now remember, KHALIL MACK, Von Miller, those guys actually signed 6-year deals, so it's a little bit higher than what I think Demarcus Lawrence gets, assuming it's a 5-year deal. Here's the per-year numbers for NFL passers, i.e. not interior guys coming off the edge, so no Aaron Donald, really no J.J. Watt either, but they all kind of fit a similar mold there. KHALIL MACK, Von Miller, OLIVIER, VERNON. Make note, by the way, right now of VERNON, because he and Demarcus Lawrence share the same agent. Now, don't get caught up just in the per-year numbers, because the NFL salary cap rises each and every single year. A contract signed in 2017 is going to look different and larger than a contract signed in 2019 when the still projected salary cap is over $20 million more. That's a big difference for guys to take up 10% of your cap, so keep that in mind as we go through this contract projection. And oh, by the way, do you guys want one for Dak Prescott as well? Type Y for yes, type N for no. If you type in N for no, well, I guess let me know why. And if you're typing in yes, well, I hope you guys have already subscribed. YouTube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. That's the URL if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, well, just go ahead and hit that subscription button already. So let's take a look now at some of the other players who could get paid, or excuse me, have been paid in a similar way to Demarcus Lawrence, and should get paid there. So we'll start things off with OLIVIER Vernon. And again, make note, he shares the same agent as Demarcus Lawrence. A 5-year, $85 million deal for a player who's not as good as Demarcus Lawrence, but unlike most of these guys, he actually hit the open market. 52.5 guaranteed in terms of the money, and pay close attention to this stuff, folks. The percentage of the cap, just under 11%. Percentage of the cap, that doesn't change over year to year. The total money can, and thus the guaranteed money can, but percentage of the cap is an easy, always consistent way to pay attention to NFL contracts. Now, KHALIL Mack, he's of course the new bar. 6 years, $141 million, 90 of that guaranteed. By the way, I'm focusing on the practical guaranteed, so it's not necessarily the signing bonus, but the money that the player's pretty much going to get no matter what and really can't get out of in terms of cutting players down the road. Percentage of his cap was 13.26. That's even higher than Von Miller's, who signed a 6-year, $114 million deal. But again, that Von Miller contract was signed several years ago. Percentage of his cap was 12.25. Look at Justin Houston now. 6 years, $101 million. That one signed for an $11.75 million cap. That's a big number there. 52.5 million guaranteed. And then finally, Chandler Jones signed for only 9.3% of the cap, a 5-year, $82.5 million deal. Those guys you saw a lot in terms of the leading pressures and sack guys, save for OLIVIER Vernon because that one didn't really work out all that well in the end. But those are the numbers to compare when you're looking at a contract here for Demarcus Lawrence, especially, by the way, the percentage of the cap. Now, we'll break down more as to what it could mean for Demarcus Lawrence based on the percentage of the cap there, but I'm wearing a Mizzen and Main shirt. Go get one of your own, comfortable.af. You guys are not going to find a more comfortable dress shirt than a Mizzen and Main shirt. I promise you guys that. Heck, I tend to sleep in these things. That's how comfortable they truly are. So go check them out. Comfortable.af is the site. So we'll take you now to, based on the percentage of the cap, again, we're assuming $189 million for Demarcus Lawrence this offseason, or for the second half, excuse me. What could that contract look like? Now, if it's 9%, that checks in around just over $17 million per year. That is your absolute baseline, which, by the way, is where the Cowboys should have offered an extension to Demarcus Lawrence last year. I think they made a mistake not doing it. 10%, you're up to 18.9. If you're at 11, looking just under $20.8 million per year. 12%, i.e. the Von Miller range, 22.5 plus 22.68 to be exact. If you want a KHALIL Mack contract in this salary cap, the projected number, you're almost at 24.57 million there. So that's a big factor there for the Cowboys. That is kind of your general baseline in terms of the absolute high, absolute low. Now, I don't think Tank's going to get $25 million. Here are my projected contract details for Demarcus Lawrence. A 5-year deal, if it becomes 6, just tack on some extra money there. So it ends up being $20.8 million per year. That's a total of $104 million. He joins the $100 million club in the NFL. I think well-deserved. Guaranteed money for the most part, by the way, folks, didn't really mention that, is almost always about 62%. So I took that here as well. So that puts the guaranteed money at $64.5 million. And that ends up being right about 11% of the cap. Very much in line with the contract that OLIVIER Vernon got. I'll be honest, I could see Demarcus Lawrence getting more money than this. I wouldn't rule out up to $110 million per year, or overall, excuse me, $110 overall for Demarcus Lawrence, which inflates the guaranteed money, puts him a little bit closer to above 11% there. This is kind of, I think, a realistic possible franchise amount for Demarcus Lawrence. 5 years, $104 million, 64.5 of that guaranteed, ends up being $20.8 million per year and 11% of the cap. So we asked you this earlier, and I ask you it again. How much is Demarcus Lawrence worth per year? Let me know in the comments section. I threw out my numbers. Again, I think it could be a little bit higher than that. That's almost maybe on the underside of it. I could see it being maybe a little bit lower. I could see it maybe being a little bit higher. That's my general baseline for what I think Demarcus Lawrence will get if, and I hope when, the Cowboys work out a long-term deal with him. So let me know in the comment section how much you think Tank is worth per year to the Dallas Cowboys. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.